Hey, all you cool cats and fun felines. This is Leah and
Lynn.
And today we are on our way to Dyess, Arkansas to visit Johnny Cash's childhood home. So join us as we travel, and what are we gonna do?
Get into the groove.
That's right. This is the Dyess Town Hall. There's Lynn. Hey, Lynn. Go over here. There's the little theater. And here's the little visitor center. We're going to go in here and buy tickets.
The redemption of an American icon. Johnny Cash.
A man in black.
Hey, Renee, did you have this up today? Not wanting to come up.
Tour dates that Johnny Cash did. Most of them with Elvis, Jerry Lee Lewis, Carl Perkins. That's wonderful.
Yeah, 2017. That one there, autographed by Rodney Crowell, this other Martin right here, Rodney Crowell. I think Willie, you can see some. We can head that way.
We're going to be the only one out there. It's going to be just us on the tour.
Yeah, just y'all. We had the projector over in the corner. Johnny's little brother Tommy was the projectionist here, and he's got his name scratched in the projector canister.
About to get on the bus.
We're about to get on the bus to go to Johnny Cash. Step on.
And as soon as we stepped off the bus and started walking up to Johnny Cash's home, our tour guide was telling us all sorts of information. It was so windy that you couldn't hear exactly what he was saying. So I'm going to relay to you a lot of the information that he told us. And plus, we could not film inside the house. It was pictures only. So there's going to be a lot of voiceover in this video. Immediately, he started talking about the walkway, and he was pointing out the shiny bricks. You could see them all along the brick walkway, and they were actually part of the original walkway that the Cash family had, so they could walk to and from the house to the bus. And ASU painstakingly saved them and made sure they were in the recreation of the walkway. Along with ASU, Johnny Cash's living siblings were involved heavily in the recreation and restoration of the Cash house. So, I mean, it is as close to the way it was when they lived there as possible.
Okay.
Come here, Lynn. We're standing on the porch at Johnny Cash's Boyhood home. Immediately when you first walk in, it is so cozy and inviting. And you can just imagine the Cash family gathered around that radio listening to it. There's Lynn standing next to Johnny Cash's mother's piano. It was donated at one point to the First Baptist Church in Dyess, and luckily they got it back when they restored their home, so they could have it there. And there is a video of one of Johnny Cash's sisters sitting at the piano just in tears because she's just so happy that it's back where it should be. I thought it was such a nice touch. They had family photos everywhere. It looked like they still live there or just moved out yesterday. It was really a nice experience. Now, I know this was a contraption used to help sew quilts. If you know what it's called, please leave a comment in the comment section. I had to take a selfie in Johnny Cash's house. This is the radio that the Cash family would huddle around. They said Johnny would be in the other room and he'd hear somebody turn it on and he would come flying in there and just about knock everybody down. This was Johnny's parents' bedroom. His mom's purse is laying on what would have been his parents' bed. And that's actually her purse and her quilt draped over the foot of the bed. And that would have been his sister's bed. And this is a beautiful example. They brought artists in from New York to restore the flooring and paint it and bring it back to its original glory. It was just a simple bathroom with a sink and a bathtub. And one thing I thought was so special was they had Johnny Cash's father's razor blade and shaving cup still sitting on the shelf. Now this is Johnny Cash in his brother's room. You can see the little brownie camera, and above John's bed is the picture of a lone wolf. He loved it. He actually built the frame for it at shop class in high school. They spent a lot of time in the kitchen. They say that is where Johnny Cash's mother realized what a talent Johnny was and how beautiful his voice was. The sink is original. It was from 1935. I loved all the little touches of china and these pretty little jars. They were snuff jars. A lot of women dipped snuff back then. It was a common thing, but they came in these pretty little jars. Here's another example of the beautiful restoration they did on all the flooring in the house. They say the family actually ate dinner, the surviving siblings ate dinner here recently. And this was a bowl that Johnny Cash's grandmother gave to his first wife, Vivian. For the second half of the tour, we went back to the visitor center. And that is Johnny Cash's senior picture. Now this shows Johnny Cash's report card, and obviously he was much more into music and girls than he was into his grades, but hey, you can't have everything. You can't be good at everything. So, and next you can see here his trunk and his fatigues from when he was in the military. It's so neat that they still have his trunk here in this museum. Next, you can see him in the yearbook, and he's known as J.R. Cash, and in fact, everybody around Dyess knew him as J.R. Cash. Now, I thought this was so sweet. He scratched out his name on his stationery and wrote Dad in a little letter he wrote to his daughter, Roseanne, for Christmas. And his little address book from high school. I'd love to see whose names are in that. His little Boy Scouts of America card, and at the end, so sad, is his brother Jack that was killed. Was his little pillow. I just thought that was such a sweet touch that they had in the museum. Now this is the chest that he built his mom. There's a replica in the house, but Johnny actually built this in shop class in high school for his mother. And lastly, they had these little drawings that he did in 1944, these little airplanes and stars. And this one of the little car in the city. He was actually a pretty good artist. I mean, in 1944, he would have been about 12 years old. And I thought it was really ironic. It's March 22nd of 1944, and we just happened to be here on March 20th in 2023. We had to leave our mark. Everybody that had visited had left. Some had left little flags from the countries. People had come from all over to visit Johnny Cash's Boyhood home. It's a really great tour. It's worth the $15 a person. He took us through. He was really nice. Mr. Danny.
He's very knowledgeable.
Very knowledgeable. Now, this plaque was outside of Johnny Cash's Boyhood home, and it just states how he really did transcend music. He was popular in folk and country and rockabilly, and even crossed over into mainstream rock and roll. He sold so many albums, and we are so honored to be here today. Thank you so much for following us on this journey and for being groovy.